welcome you officially to this Shape Your Business webinar, where we'll be exploring today the importance of creating your own unique core differentiator. Look, perception is the reality, and that's a very important and very useful thing to remember. You see, what it means is that you can shape the market's view of the way they see your business. It's quite possible to appear big when in fact you are small, if that's to your advantage, or to be better than your competitors when in reality you may not be. It's an important part of arriving at your competitive advantage, which you need in order to thrive. Here's what I mean. Imagine you're very hungry. You're walking down the street and you see two cafes right next door to each other. The one on the left looks like an average cafe, reasonably clean, a range of food items, a few people inside, and a sign on the window that displays the name and the year that it was established. But as you look at the cafe on the right, the difference between the two is obvious in an instant. On this one, there's a big sign on the front window that says we're passionate about food. Underneath that it says, and the pleasure it brings, with a plaque that says something like, after years of practice, we've developed a range of sandwiches, salads, soups, and desserts that are unique, delicious, healthy, and freshly prepared each morning in the shop. We bake our own bread and pastries and insist on providing you with the highest quality and quickest service, all with a smile. The cafe is also packed with smiling people. Now, based on that initial assessment, which cafe would you most likely step into first, and why might that be? Was it the cafe on the right, which seemed to offer something better or more appealing? Could it be true that both cafes actually offered similar products? It's the differences that potential customers perceive that make them choose one business over another. And those differences make the customer feel more confident about their final decision as well. Most business owners don't have a UCD, only a me too, a rudderless, nondescript, and perhaps unappealing business that feeds solely upon the sheer momentum of the marketplace. There's nothing unique, there's nothing distinct. They promise no great value, benefit or service, just a buy from us for no justifiable rational reason. It's no surprise then that most businesses lacking a UCD merely get by. Their failure rate is higher than the average, their owners tend to lack motivation, and they get only a small share of the potential business that they could otherwise get. But other than a possible convenient location, why should they get much patronage if they fail to offer any appealing promise, unique feature, or special service? Would you want to patronize a firm that's just there with no unique benefit, no incredible prices or selection, no especially comforting service or guarantee? Or would you prefer a firm that offers you the broadest selection in the country? Or one with every item marked up less than half the margin that other competitors charge? Or one that sells the Rolls-Royce of the industry's products? Can you see what an appealing difference the UCD makes in establishing a company's perceived image or posture to the customer? It's ludicrous to operate any business without carefully crafting a clear, strong, appealing UCD into the very fabric of the daily existence of that business. The point is to focus on the one niche, need, or gap that's most sorely lacking, provided that you can keep the promise you make, of course. That means you must differentiate your business or develop what we call a unique core differentiator or a UCD. In today's competitive market, your business can't thrive if you're using the same old Me Too marketing that everyone else is using. Your small business absolutely positively has to have a UCD that cuts through the clutter, separates you from the competition and positions you as the best choice, in fact the only choice. Building your UCD takes some effort, but it's absolutely worth it because of the added advantage you'll have in the market. Using a powerful UCD will make your job of marketing and selling much easier, enabling you to more easily increase your sales and profits for the same budget. Unique core differentiators, those UCDs, clearly articulate what makes your business different. They are the things that make you more unique, more valuable, and more visible than your competitors in the marketplace. You've probably heard that old saying, differentiate or die. In our highly competitive world, you have to be unique and fill a special niche to be successful. Yet one of the most common mistakes small businesses make is not being unique and not positioning themselves as the best choice in the market. Unique core differentiators are the special things about your product or service or business that compels customers to buy from you rather than from your competitors. UCDs target real buying concerns, the key frustrations, and the benefits for your customers. Having a UCD will dramatically improve the positioning and marketability of your business and products by accomplishing three things for you. One of them is unique. It clearly sets you apart from your competition, positioning you as the more logical choice. Core, meaning it forms the core of your business, permeating every area in order to fulfill the differentiating promise, and I'll speak about that in just a moment. And differentiator, it separates you from the pack. It provides your prospects with a compelling reason to select you rather than your competition. Incidentally, that's why I much prefer the term UCD to USP, unique selling proposition. To me, the term selling suggests that we're out to control the customer and make them buy something. I really believe that your role is to help the customer satisfy a need. You are there to solve their problem, not push something onto them. And I think that there's a really big difference there. So think for just a moment about some of the things you think are unique about your business and jot them down for later on. It could be that your business offers a better or more unique product or service. Or perhaps the specific way you deliver the product or service brings better results for your customers. Maybe you offer a better value, or the experience within your team far exceeds the competitors. Just have a think about that for a moment and perhaps jot down 3 or 4 things that come to mind. UCDs are powerful in 5 ways. Firstly, they articulate exactly what your customer wants. Well-formed differentiators target your customers' hot buttons, real buying concerns or key frustrations. In one statement, it educates them about exactly why they should buy from you. Secondly, they improve the results from your marketing. They make you highlight the benefits of your product or service rather than just the features in all of your marketing activities, and that in itself is quite a powerful thing. Thirdly, they give a specific focus to your team. Gives a consistency of purpose to everyone on your team, and the way they present themselves and deal with customers to support what you've said differentiates you. Where are we up to? Number 4, they improve the operation. They must sit at the core of your entire business and the systems that you use. And they help increase sales. They bring customers in, keep them coming back again and again, and help build a referral network, all without ever having to stoop to lowering your prices. So here are the 5 things. The ultimate goal of your unique core differentiator in marketing is to have people say to you, "Oh, yes, I've heard of you. You're the firm that..." And then they continue on by requesting more information or purchasing. So it can be a powerful branding tool. Remember, we touched on this in our 4 Ways to Grow webinar, so if you didn't see that or you'd like a refresher, then make sure you contact us and we'll send you off the links and the credentials so that you can have a look at that particular webinar. Certainly from the feedback, we know that there was some really great stuff for you there. Your UCD needs to be so compelling that it can be used as a headline that sells your product or your service. Therefore, since you want to optimize all your marketing materials for maximum results, we suggest you create it before your advertisements and your marketing copy, the words that you choose to use in your brochures. FedEx talk about absolutely positively overnight. That created a point of differentiation among shipping companies for Federal Express. In fact, with it, they dominated the package shipping market almost overnight. Of course, they also had to improve the core of their operation in order to deliver on that promise. So it brought real focus to the operational side of the business as well as the marketplace. And that's not a bad thing. Other examples, a dentist, we guarantee that you'll have a comfortable experience and never have to wait more than 15 minutes or you'll receive a free exam. Hurrah. A construction company will pay you $100 for every day we go over the targeted completion date. That targets customers' key frustration with builders, that the deadline is hardly ever met. Or a grocery store like Woolies, the fresh food people, targets customers' desire for the freshest produce and is reinforcement that it is the perception that counts, which isn't necessarily the reality. Unlocking, discovering, or creating UCDs in your business can be a key to generating better results from your marketing and your sales efforts. When you're examining the ways in which your business and what it delivers is unique, remember that there are actually 3 kinds of UCDs. So let's just have a look at them now. The first is an actual UCD. When there is something genuinely unique and powerful about your product or service. The example, parts overnight. Now, the founder of a very successful company realized that it was next to impossible to fix the laser printer overnight. The average turnaround time was, in fact, about 5 weeks or so. Why is that? Because at the time, there were only a couple of very large companies carrying the spare parts for the technicians to order. Because he guessed that people might like to get their fixed printer sooner than that, he developed a unique way to deliver printer parts overnight to technicians and offered a guarantee on quality. The technicians are happy because their customers are happy, and the company's annual turnover went from just $4,000 to $20 million in 4 years. The second kind of UCD is what we call a created UCD. So before, did you come up with a list of things that differentiate your product or service from your competitors? Perhaps you can't find anything that is truly unique about it. If that's the case, you'll need to create a point of differentiation. It helps to examine the way you do business rather than just the product or service. An example, a guarantee unlike any other offered in your industry, or a level of after-sales service that surpasses all others, or a unique delivery or installation process, or perhaps you have a 1-800 or 0800 service hotline. We know of a wholesale baker who offers a risk-free guarantee that if the retailer doesn't sell the baked goods, the baker will buy them back at full price. Now that captured the majority of the local market because it solved a key customer frustration and gave them a reason to buy from her. They don't even mind paying a slightly higher price because of that guarantee. She removed her own risk, of course, by qualifying the guarantee with after you've paid within 7 days of delivery. The third kind of UCD you might want to consider is what we call a perceived UCD. So you may still not have anything in your business that's totally unique, but if you're the first to articulate a perceived difference, even though your competitors do the same, you'll stand out in the crowd as if you're unique. An example, there's a rental car firm by the name of Enterprise that say, "We'll pick you up." Now, even though nearly every other rental car company is willing to pick people up, Enterprise has worked hard to highlight that as one of the key differences in the service that they offer. Meanwhile, their competition, Avis, says, "We try harder." Now, that was a response to Hertz, who initially announced, "We're number one." Avis came back with, "We're number two, we try harder," but decided they could get their message across just as well by shortening it. They were okay about not being number one, and the UCD says that they've got the hustle to make sure customers are served. So you might even have something like ABC tree trimmers will trim and maintain your trees and shrubs 4 times a year, once every 3 months, and all it costs you is $15 a month billed quarterly. Now, others may offer it, but if you're the only one actively promoting it, the perception will be that it's unique to you. And if someone copies and markets that message, then you move on and you find another one. So get that list out again that you wrote down earlier on and look at it from your customer's perspective instead of from your own. What benefit are you providing? What key frustration are you removing? What are you willing to go the extra mile on in order to differentiate yourself? What is something that everyone in your industry is required to do, but no one articulates it as an unique core differentiator, a UCD? Add any UCDs that you come up with to your list, and when developing your UCD, it's really important that you put yourself in your prospect's position. Look at your product or service from the point of view of someone thinking about buying it. What is important to your potential customer, and what would be a compelling reason for that prospect to buy from you instead of the competition? What might hold them back? What sort of risks might they see? What can you do to alleviate those risks? Your customer's interest is focused on what your product or service does for them, the benefits, how using your product solves a problem or improves an outcome. The key to unlocking the decision to buy is offering benefits that outweigh what the competition offers without resorting to price wars. So benefits are all about how your product adds value for your customer, while features relate to what goes into making the product or service and how it's delivered to customers. That's an important distinction because customers are really not interested in features. They are only motivated by benefits. Now check out our webinar on that topic and learn how you can multiply your profits with that sort of information. There'll be details on our website. But for now, and as an example, saying that there's a lifetime guarantee on your products is describing a feature. The benefit is that customers don't take any risk by buying your product. The one they buy is theirs for keeps. A powerful UCD is one that's focused on the benefits that only you offer. We've talked about FedEx, where the pain point was I have to get this package delivered quick, and the UCD, when it absolutely, positively has to be there overnight. What about a real estate company? The pain point, people want to sell their house fast without losing money on the deal. The UCD could be our 20-step marketing system will sell your home in less than 45 days at full market value. I mentioned before about the dentist, the pain point, if you excuse the pun. Many people don't like to go to the dentist because of the pain and the long wait beforehand. The UCD, we guarantee that you'll have a comfortable experience and never have to wait more than 15 minutes or you'll receive a free exam. The cold medicine industry, there was a firm there with a pain point, your crook feel terrible and can't sleep. Their UCD was the nighttime coughing, aching, sniffly, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine. It's a long line and it was powerful. The jewelry industry addressing a pain point that the market hates, paying huge 300% markups for jewelry. Their UCD, don't pay 300% markups to a traditional jeweler for inferior diamonds. We guarantee that your loose diamond will appraise for at least twice the purchase price or will buy it back. As you can see from some of those examples, it doesn't have to be original. It just simply needs to set you apart from everyone else. Think about the places you shop. Why do you go there? There could be a variety of reasons, including convenience and service. So how often do you suppose that those are factors in a company's UCD? So to start with, list all of the features of the product or service that your business offers, and when you can't think of any more, go through each feature and look at it from the customer's point of view. What is the benefit? List all the benefits next to the corresponding features. Your UCD must be focused on benefits that only you offer. So eliminate from your list all benefits that your competition is also offering. If you find that you've no benefits left after you do that, you may have to tweak some features so that they can result in unique benefits. You should end up with a few benefits to choose from. When deciding which one is the most suitable as the focus of your UCD, ask yourself these three questions. Which benefits are the most important to your client? Which benefits are the most difficult for your competitors to imitate? Which benefits can be most easily understood by customers? If, like most of us, you're in a competitive market, you can't be all things to all people. In other words, you have to find a niche, a corner of the market that you can take ownership of because of the unique benefits that you offer. Remember, focus is the name of the game. Your UCD needs to be short, just one sentence if you can get away with that. Clearly written so that everyone can understand it. And it needs to be composed of benefits that are unique to your company or product or perceived to be. The Domino's Pizza UCD is a really good example of a unique core differentiator that does all of those things. Fresh hot pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Let's look at some ways you might want to go about finding your UCD. You may care to ask your team. So the next step you need to take when you focus back on your business is to ask your team members what they think your key UCDs are or should be. You may be surprised at what you hear. Often your team members have much more daily contact with customers, or they should be, and really have a handle on their needs and frustrations and how to address them. They'll know that from the questions that tend to come up time and time again. Include the new UCDs that your team members come up with on your list. You may have someone ask you, now, if you and your team are still having difficulty finding something unique about your business, a very useful technique you can use is to sit down with someone you trust who doesn't work in your business, they're not too close to the action, and have them interview you. Certainly, we certainly have a tried and tested process for that, and we tend to find that there's a lot of merit to getting someone who's not quite in amongst the forest, as most people around you probably are. It's a good idea to record the interview because you'll probably come up with several UCDs without even knowing it, as well as a wealth of great marketing copy that you can put to good use later on. Instead of asking what is unique about your business, the interviewer should ask questions that dig deeper, such as, tell me what happens in your business every day from start to finish. Why do you do it that way? Why do you think people buy from you? Look, when we asked an owner of a fast food chicken restaurant about their UCD, they couldn't find anything that they did differently than any other fast food restaurant. But when asked what happened in the business every day, the owner went on to explain that the team arrived at 5 a.m. to scrub the entire facility. They finished at 10 p.m. because they did it again at closing time. And they did that because cleanliness is important to customers buying chicken. He also went on to say that it was important to be open early to take delivery of hundreds of fresh chickens every day from a local poultry farm. And that was important because people like the taste of fresh chicken rather than frozen. In addition, the local farm raised them without hormones, resulting in 20% less fat content. Now, all those things were key concerns of his customers. So the business was, in fact, doing things differently without realizing it. And that the things he was doing, while not obvious, would strike a chord with the customers. He went on to document those differences in the marketing activities, and sales increased dramatically and repeat business soared. It's just so important to know yourself. Know what you can and can't do. Figure out if there's something you can do that your competition can't. For example, can you provide overnight delivery while others don't? The extra expense you pay in delivery fees may be worth it when you get more customers who need your product sooner and who may even be willing to pay a premium. Can you provide a customized version of the product that you and your competition are selling? It could take a few extra moments with each purchase, but the extra expense may be worthwhile when extra customers want something that fits with their needs exactly. We worked with a plumber who identified that some customers were desperate for a quick fix, so he used to offer a standard service, or at a premium, he could have someone there within 3 hours. Now, over 20% of customers took up that option, and that resulted in profit increase of more than 30%. Asking your customers why they decided to buy from you can be helpful, because your perception of why people buy from you and the experience they have doing it can be quite different from theirs. So why did you decide to purchase from us is a very natural question. What differences did you notice between our business and other providers of the same product service? What differences did you notice between our business and other providers is a really important question, and not one that you should be shying away from. How about, what were the top 3 things that mattered most to you when you were selecting which business to make your purchase from? Or were you happy with your experience purchasing from our business? What can we do to improve the experience for you? An example of a profit development company. Now, the company had assumed the major reasons that new tenants would move into their new townhouse complex was for the facilities. There was a pool, a play area, a tennis court, of course security, a few other things. So they used the facilities as the focus in their marketing. However, the new occupancy rate was sluggish. And when we asked the few tenants that were there why they'd moved there, they told us that it was because of the fact that the townhouses had 3 bedrooms, they were new, they cost the same as older, smaller apartments in the area. Since it wasn't the facilities that potential tenants were looking for, promoting them wasn't having their hot buttons. When the company changed their advertising and placed those 3 considerations in the headline, the complex was fully occupied in just a few weeks, and I understand they even had a waiting list. It's also important to know your customers, drill down your niche to know exactly what they're looking for, what they love and hate, and how they spend their money. An understanding of your customers needs to come first. If you're offering rapid turnaround times on your product, but your customer base has all the time in the world, then your UCD is powerless. However, if you can correctly identify what your clients are looking for and you offer that to them, you'll find that you end up with happier customers because they're getting from you what they believe that they can't get anywhere else. It's also important to understand your competition. You need to know them. Figure out what they're offering. Remember that the tighter the niche you sell to, the fewer competitors you have. Take advantage of that fact by identifying a very narrow group of people to sell to. You'll eliminate most of your competition that way as well. After you add your team's ideas, your interview responses, add your customers' input to your UCD list, it's time to look at each item on the list and ask the question, is that true or not? And would my competitors say the same thing? And you need to be honest there. Cross out anything that doesn't really differentiate you or doesn't provide a customer benefit or address a frustration in order to finalize your UCD list. By attending this webinar, you'll be receiving an action plan. I'd have a look at that. You'll see that in order to help get you started, we've included a 7-step process to discover your UCD. While completing it, you might want to return to a recording of this webinar for ideas to refresh your memory. So watch out for the link and other details that we'll send you after the event. The 7 steps, just to go through them here. Firstly, clearly describe the 3 biggest benefits of owning your product or service. Now, let me be blunt. Your prospect doesn't care if you offer the best quality, service, or price. You have to explain why that's important to them. Think in terms of what your business does for your customer and the end result they desire from a product or service like yours. So, what are the 3 biggest benefits that you offer? Be unique. The key here is to make sure that you stand apart from the others. Basically, your UCD separates you from the competition. It sets up a buying criteria that shows your company is the most logical choice and makes your product or service the must-have item. Write your UCD so it creates desire and urgency. Your UCD can be stated in your product itself, in your offer, or in your guarantee. You may want to solve an industry pain point or performance gap. Identify which needs are going unfulfilled within either your industry or your local market. The need or gap that exists between the current situation and the desired objectives is sometimes termed a performance gap. Many businesses that base their UCD on industry performance gaps are really successful. The example I gave earlier about Domino's Pizza, that became wildly successful for them, and it worked because of the need or gap in the market. After a long day of work, many were just too tired to cook, but the kids were starving. They don't want to have to wait an hour. They want something now. So call Domino's. So what are the most frustrating things your customer experiences when working with you or in your industry in general? Alleviate that pain in your UCD and make sure you deliver on that promise. You need to be specific and offer proof. Consumers are skeptical of advertising claims, so alleviate their skepticism by being specific and offering proof when possible. Number 5, look at condensing into one clear and concise sentence. The most powerful UCDs are so perfectly written you can't change or move even a single word. Each word earns you money by selling your product or service. After you get your UCD written, your advertising and marketing copy will practically write itself. Next, integrate that UCD into all of your marketing materials. Variations of your UCD can be included in any marketing copy you've got, including your website, of course. So use that for your advertising and sales copy headlines, your business cards, brochures, your flyers, your signage, your elevator speech as well. And if you want a bit of a refresher on that, just contact us and we'll send you details of our webinar on constructing your elevator speech. Letterheads, letters, postcards. I mentioned website, but also your internet marketing is also important there. And finally, make sure you deliver on your UCD's promise. So you can be bold when developing your UCD, but really be careful to ensure you have the systems in place in order to deliver. Your UCD should have promises and guarantees that capture your audience's attention and compels them to respond to you. Having a strong UCD can make your business a big success or a big failure if you don't deliver on it, thereby ruining your reputation. In the beginning, it was a challenge for Federal Express to be absolutely positively deliver overnight, but they developed the systems that allowed them to deliver that promise constantly. James Collins wrote the book Built to Last, The Successful Habits of Visionary Companies. And in it, he examined the differences between directly competitive companies and pointed out that some of them outlast, outperform, and outrun the competition. He says these built-to-last companies have a central core that is the basis upon which all business decisions are made, and that is what differentiates them. So once you've established your UCDs, you must then make them a central focus of your business. Your products, services, and the way you operate should all be guided by what you promised in your UCD statements. And when you're faced with a difficult business decision, you can go back to the core in order to get some guidance. Once you've established your UCDs, you must then make them a central focus of your business. Your products, services, and the way you operate should all be guided by what you've promised in your UCD statements. And when you're faced with that difficult decision, remember, I'm saying you need to go back to that core. That is why it is so important. It is your unique core differentiator. Everything in your business needs to revolve around this, and we tend to find that really is one of the fallbacks of a lot of businesses, that they do set up these UCDs. They've gone to a lot of time to find compelling, unique core differentiators, and they use it for their marketing purposes, and when the customer comes in to share that experience, they are left somewhat wanting, because it is what they have said rather than what they have really believed in. It's that important to make sure you maintain a focus on it, and as long as it is part of your marketing, as long as it is regarded as a central unique core differentiator, then it really does need to become an important part of the way that you run your business. Now earlier, when I was mentioning about that action plan, I think it was the step 6, I was talking about how it's absolutely essential to integrate your UCDs into the business, and the best way is to make them the focus of those marketing efforts. Now, the mistake most businesses make is they don't include the UCDs in their marketing. They instead focus on the features rather than the benefits, and they expect customers to buy just because they're in the marketplace and they're saying, buy from us. Take charge of the situation. Make sure that everything you put into your advertising, your promotions, signage, brochures, stationery, on your delivery vehicles, on those shopping bags, they clearly articulate exactly why you're unique and why potential clients should buy from you. If you don't, they'll make their buying decision based on something else, something that might lead them elsewhere. So let's just go over the key points that we've talked about so far. Perception is a reality. People buy based on the differences they perceive between competitors. You must make your business stand out by developing and communicating your unique core differentiators. They are the things that clearly articulate what makes you different, and they target customers' concerns, their frustrations, and their desires. And there are 3 kinds of UCDs: actual, created, and perceived. To find your own UCDs, you need to talk to your team, have someone outside the business interview you, and get input from your customers too. Once you've come up with your UCDs, you need to make sure that they are the focus or core of your business. And the final step is to ensure that all of your marketing efforts clearly articulate why you're unique and why customers should buy from you. After we produce this webinar for you, and you'll get a link to that, you'll also see that we've included an action plan designed to help you get together with your team and with others so that you can start developing a unique core differentiator that is going to be powerful and is going to help you increase your profitability, your cash flow, and ultimately the value of your business as well. Certainly if we can help, please make sure you contact us. We're here for that reason.